Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 12th November. My name is Anuj Gurjar and I will be taking today's session. So, let's begin today's session. In today's session, we will be covering 5 main news, 6 also in news, and 1 place in news, that is Ethiopia. Okay. In main news, we will be covering the first news as the Union government has said that it will launch the National One Health Mission. In this, we will be covering about the One Health approach. Okay. In the second news, we will be covering about the stage 2 of graded response action plan, which has been started in NCR region. In third news, we will be knowing about the Cryosphere as the International Cryosphere Climate Initiative released the State of the Cryosphere Report 2025. In fourth news, we will be knowing about the Global Cooling Watch 2025 report, which call for an urgent shift to sustainable cooling. In fifth news, we will be knowing about the vanadium redox flow batteries as the India's largest and the first megawatt scale vanadium redox flow battery has been inaugurated as NTPC Netra in Noida. Okay, in quick updates, we will be covering about digital gold, climate risk index 2026, TB vaccine development, alter magnetism, exercise winbacks, and Booker Prize. Okay, and in place in news, we will be covering about Ethiopia. Okay, so this is the brief about the news we will be covering in the today's session. Let's begin with the first news. So the first news for today is that the Union government is said that it will launch the National One Health Mission. So in this news, we will be knowing about this mission as well as we will be knowing about the One Health approach. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 2, which talks about issues related to health, and GS paper 3, which talks about sustainable developments. Let's begin the discussion of this news. So first, let us discuss the context of the news. The context of the news is that the mission has been approved by the Prime Minister's Science, Technology and Innovation Advisory Council. So this is the context here. Whenever we are reading a news, we should know why we are reading the news, how it is important for our examination. So that is the basic approach we should adopt for reading a news. So before moving further, we will understand about the One Health approach. Okay. You might be seeing about COVID-19, you might be seeing about Nipah disease. Okay, so these things are related to One Health and how One Health can be defined. Okay, so let us draw a Venn diagram. Suppose, okay, this is environment health, this is human health, okay, and this is animal health. So in One Health approach, this part can be considered as One Health. That means that the health of environment, human and animals are interrelated to each other. Okay, and why we are reading it? Because WHO has said that the 60% of the new diseases have transferred from animals. And various examples are there like COVID-19, Nipah, Ebola, AIDS. There are many diseases which have evolved from animals. Okay, let us discuss the definition. I have already explained you. The definition is that it is an integrated unifying approach that aims to sustainably balance and optimize the health of people, animal and ecosystem. Okay, so this is the diagram from which you can understand about One Health approach, and it is the definition. Okay, why we required this in India? Because India has a unique demographic. That means there is diverse wildlife and one of the world largest livestock from which diseases can be transferred to humans. Also, the density of population in India is very high. Okay, so that is the first reason why we need this approach. Second, there is many disease which have recently broken out from the animals to humans. I have already given the examples of such disease. Okay. Now let us discuss the about the National One Health Mission. Okay, this is the context here, and we should know about the mission. Okay, first, what is the vision of this mission? Okay, so to build an integrated disease control and pandemic preparedness system in India by bringing human, animal, and environment sector together. So basically, it tries to adopt one health approach. Okay, and what is the implementing agency? So the implementing agency for it is Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR. Okay, and the anchor institution is National Institution of One Health, Nagpur. Okay, we have already One Health mission that was launched in 2021. Okay, so this was about National One Health mission. We already have National One Health approach that was launched in 2021. Okay, so this was basically about the mission which has to be launched by the government. Okay, now coming to the critical pillars of the mission. So first of all, it will focus on research and development. And what kind of research and development? It will drive targeted R&D to develop essential tools such as vaccine, diagnostic, and the therapeutic causes that can be used to identify new diseases. Secondly, it will improve the clinical readiness for any disease. Okay, it was seen when the COVID-19 outbreak happened that India was not prepared for such a pandemic. But through this mission, they are trying that we will enhance preparedness in terms of clinical care, infrastructure, and response capabilities. So that is the second pillar of the mission. Third pillar is data integration. Okay, it will strengthen the data and information linkage from animals, health, and human health as well as the environment health, and it will link them together and form the policy based on the data which is available from the data from animal, human as well as the environment. Okay, the last pillar is community engagement. Okay, and what does it say? It says that there has to be a close community participation, then only this mission will be successful. Okay, so this was about this mission and this was about this news. Now we will discuss one PYQ based on this information. Okay, so the PYQ related to this news is from 2019 prelims examination. Please read the question carefully. The question is, which of the following are the reason for the occurrence of multi-drug resistance in microbial pathogen in India? Okay, if you know the connection between human health and the animal health, you will be able to solve this question. So first option is genetic predisposition of some people. Okay, that is the first option. Second option, taking incorrect doses of antibiotics to cure diseases. Okay, second option. Third option, using antibiotics in livestock farming. That is the third option. And the fourth option is multiple chronic disease in some people. Okay, so we have discussed this aspect in this news. That means the health of the livestock is related to human health. So that's why this option will be correct, and the other option which is correct is second option. And first and fourth options are not correct. That's why the answer is B. Okay, so this was all about the first news. Okay, let us move to the second news for today. So the second news for today is that CAQM, that stand for Commission for Air Quality Management, has invoked the stage 3 of Graded Response Action Plan, that is GRAP in NCR. In this news, we will be covering about the CAQM, what is the graded response action plan, and why there has been a pollution in the NCR region. Okay, so that is the discussion we will be covering in this news. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about environmental pollution and degradation. Okay, let us move to the discussion. So the context we already have discussed, and the CAQM plan include 9-point action plan which comprise a ban on constructions, mining, and polluting vehicle along with hybriding school. That means they options in school the option for from the home will be given, and stay office timing. The timing will be changed so that the people does not have to travel in the pollution, and reduce the emission and the congestion in the public spaces. Okay, let us discuss about the CAQM. Okay, first of all, it is a statutory body. It's a very important fact that it is a statutory body. Okay, and it was established in 2021. Okay, both the facts are very important. First of all, that it is a statutory body. Second, it was established in 2021. And for what it was established? It was established to reduce the pollution in the NCR region. Okay, and it was established by the Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and the adjoining area Act of 2021. Okay, please write down in the comment section that how many districts are there in the NCR region. Okay, so please write in the comment section that how many districts are there in NCR region. Okay, so you will be knowing better about the NCR region. Okay, let's move forward and know about the reasons why there has been lot of pollution in NCR region. Okay, so reason for pollution in NCR region. Okay, so consider the belt, this NCR belt from Indo-Gangetic plains. So consider them as the NCR region. Okay, and now consider that Himalayas are north of NCR region, Aravallis are at west, and the peninsular region is at the south. So they forms like a bowl like shape. That's why the pollution get trapped in this region. That is the one fun reason for pollution in NCR region. Secondly, when we talks about meteorological factors, okay, so it include temperature inversion. In normal conditions, okay, so this will be the warm air, then colder air, and then the cold air. Okay, so basically the warm air shifted to the above region and air get mixed to the upper region air. But in temperature inversion, this does not take place. In temperature region, in inversion of temperature, here it is cold air, colder air, then warm air, and then cold air. Okay, so the colder air get trapped near the surface. That does not give the chance to air to get mixed with the upper layer of the air. Okay, so that's why the pollution get trapped here. Okay, so that is the second reason. The third reason is the pollution which is caused by humans, such as stubble burning and vehicle and industrial emission. If you are reading newspaper, you might be knowing that the level of stubble burnings are lower in this year. There are many reasons. First is awareness by the government which has been raised in the people. Second is the flood which have occurred in the Punjab region. That's why the cycle of rice cultivation has been disturbed. Okay, so these are the basic reason for the pollution in NCR region. Okay, now we will understand about the graded response action plan. Okay, so the graded response action plan, it is an emergency response mechanism for the entire NCR. I have already asked you about how many districts are there in NCR. You will be knowing about them and write about the districts in the comment section. Okay, and it is triggered by Delhi's average AQI, air quality index. Okay, so that is based on the Delhi's average AQI to coordinate multiple stakeholders against deteriorating air quality in Delhi NCR. Okay, so that is the graded response action plan. Okay, and it is divided into 4 stages, as we have already discussed in the context that the stage 3 has been implemented in the NCR region. There are other stages as well: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. Okay, so in stage 1, poor category, it is AQI from 201 to 300. In very poor category, that is stage 2, AQI is from 301 to 400. In severe category, it is AQI is from 401 to 450. And in stage 4, that is severe category, AQI is above 451. Okay, so this was about the graded response action plan. Now we will see how Beijing was successful in eliminating the pollution from its area. Okay, you can write about this as an example, global example, whenever you are writing about the mitigation or the plan against the pollution. You can give this as an example, as a success example. Okay, so first of all, what it did, it has improved its air quality from 144 in 2015 to 92. Okay, so that is a success model. And what are the reason behind it? First, it has implemented phased and long-term strategy. Okay, it has divided its implementation of plans in 3 phases, and these plans were against the anti-pollution, which required the better solution for vehicle management, better solution for the other type of pollution which was there in the city. Okay. Secondly, they have targeted the source control. Okay, they have specifically targeted the sources which aimed at cut emission from the coal power plants and the transport and industry as well as the construction region. That was the second step they have taken. Thirdly, they have increased the regional cooperation as well as the investment to decrease the pollution. Okay, so they have coordinated between regional cooperation with 5 surrounded provinces which was surrounding the Beijing region. Okay, so basically this was about the Beijing and how it has lowered its pollution. Okay, now we will see one PYQ related to this news, and PYQ will be from the 2016 prelims as well as the mains from 2015. Okay, please look at the 2016 PYQ carefully, as you have to solve this. This information is readily available on Google as well as on ChatGPT. So please read the question carefully and write the answer in the comment section. It will improve your learning by this session. Okay, so the question is, in the cities of our country, which among the following atmospheric gases are normally considered in calculating the value of air quality index? We have talked a lot about the air quality index in the news discussion. So the option are carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide and methane. Please Google it and write down the answer. Okay, it will help you to remember this information for a long time. Okay, the question from mains is that Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata are the 3 mega cities of the country, but the air pollution is much more serious problem in Delhi as compared to the other 2. Why is this so? Okay, we have discussed this in the news. Okay, so the reason for pollution in NCR region. Okay, so you can divide your answer as introduction. In introduction, you can write about the issue of pollution in Delhi, and in body you can write about the various reason such as meteorological, topological as well the human reason. Okay, and in conclusion you can write about the steps required to reduce this pollution. Okay, so that is the basic approach to write a mains answer. Okay, and if you want to increase its visibility, you can draw the map of the NCR region and Delhi and their surrounding areas as well. Okay, so this was all about the second news. Now we will move to the third main news for today. The third news is about that the International Cryosphere Climate Initiative has released the State of the Cryosphere report for 2025. In this news, we will be covering about the cryosphere and the challenges faced by the cryosphere regions. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 1, which talks about silent features of world's physical geography, and GS paper 3, which talks about conservation of environment. Okay, so this is the third news. Let us move to the discussion of this news. Okay, so in this news, before moving, let us understand about the report. Okay, so reports highlight the status and impact of changes in 5 key components of cryosphere. And what are those 5 components? That those are ice sheet, mountain glaciers and snow, polar oceans, sea ice and permafrost. Okay, before moving further, let us understand what is cryosphere. Okay, so cryosphere is basically water in the solid form. That means in the frozen format. Okay, so that include, you can see this infographic, ice cap, snow, lake and river ice, sea ice, iceberg, ice shelf, snow, ice sheet and the permafrost. Okay, so interesting question here is that does the ice in your fridge also include in the cryosphere? Okay, so it does not include in the cryosphere. Basically, it includes the permanent or the water from the nature, which is present in the form of ice. Okay, so that is basically about the cryosphere. Okay, you can look into this infographic and understand clearly what is the meaning of cryosphere. Okay, now let us move to the finding of this report. Okay, so the key highlight findings and the highlights of this report. First of all, it talks about ice sheet. It says that the losses from the Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets have quadrupled since the 1990s. Okay, so suppose this is the globe. Okay, this is northern pole, this is southern pole. There is lot of ice in both the regions, and that is melting, especially in the north region as well as the southern region, the western Antarctica part. Okay, and what it will lead to? It will lead to sea level rise. And what does sea level rise will lead to? Okay, it will impact the human population which is there at the coastal regions. Okay, secondly, the report talks about the polar oceans. Okay, it says that the rising greenhouse gases are impacting their role as heat and carbon absorbers and divers of global circulation. Okay, so that is the second observation, and it basically talks about two major ocean current system. One is Antarctic overturning circulation, AOC, and another one is Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. Okay, let us understand basically about these circulation. Suppose there is a fresh ice formation on sea. Okay, it will extract the fresh water and it will leave behind the salt. Okay, so the surrounding water will get densed and the dense water will go down to the ocean. Okay, which is cool. Okay, and this water will go from the surface to the lower region and it will circulate below the sea. Okay, so this is about the circulation under the sea, and it provide oxygen as well as the minerals for the animals or the marine species which are there below the sea. That is the basic function. But it has said that these circulation are getting slowed, and which is impacting the marine life. So that is the second observation of the report. Now moving to the third highlight of the report. Okay, so it has talked about mountain glacier and snow. Okay, so glacier ice loss is increasing exponentially worldwide, and specifically in India due to black soot. Okay. What is the reason behind it is? You might have observed that our elder says that in summer you should wear light color clothes and in winter you should wear dark color clothes. Okay. What is the reason behind it? So mostly the light color clothes, that is, suppose that is white, will not absorb heat and will reflect maximum heat. Okay. So basically eyes color is white, so it will reflect most of the heat. But because of black soot, which is getting accumulated on eyes, it will attract the heat and there will be increase in melting. If you have visited Manali or if you have visited any Himalayan state, you might see this soot on the eyes. Okay, and that is becoming one of the reason for increasing the eyes melting. Okay, and what will be the impact of this? It will impact and threaten the water, food and economic and political security for billions of people who are dependent on the rivers which are flowing from these mountains. Okay, and it is often said that next world war will be because of the water scarcity. You might have seen the reason or the water as the reason for war in South Sudan and Sudan. Okay, so that will the impact of the mountains, glacier and snow melting. Okay, the fourth, it talks about sea ice. Okay, so sea ice extent and thickness have declined 40 to 60% at both poles since 1979. Okay, and its impact at the loss of sea ice drive Arctic amplification. So what is Arctic amplification? So this is the Arctic region. Okay. So Arctic amplification means that the warming of Arctic region is faster than the global average. Okay. And what is the reason behind it? Suppose there is ice here and which gets melted. The area will be exposed to the land and the other type of land masses which will attract heat and that will further melt the ice which is surrounding by that landmass and which will further increase the temperature there. So that is about the Arctic amplification. Also is threatened the ice dependent species, okay, the marine species such as polar bear, okay, and disrupt weather and the ocean currents. Okay, so this was about the sea ice. Now talking about the permafrost. Okay, so over 210,000 kilometers square of permafrost has thawed per decade since the current warming began. Okay, and it will leads to decrease the global carbon budget and release vast amount of ancient organic carbon. Okay, so in permafrost region, which is the frozen earth, when that will be melted, that the carbon stored in them will get released and it will further leads to greenhouse gas emission. Okay, so this was the last finding of the report. Okay, so let us move further, okay, and discuss the PYQ related to this news. Okay, both of the PYQ related to this news are from mains. Okay, think about these PYQs and think how you can write the answer for them. Okay, the first PYQ is, how does the cryosphere affect global climate? Okay, we have discussed about this in this news. Okay, it was in 2017. Okay, the next PYQ is from 2021 and the question is, how do the melting of Arctic ice and glacier of the Antarctica differently affect the weather patterns and human activities on the earth? Okay, just think about these questions and think how you will frame answers based on these questions. Okay, so this was about the third news. Let us move to the fourth news. Fourth report is about Global Cooling Watch 2025 reports calls for an urgent shift to sustainable cooling. While releasing this report, they have said that the cooling is no further is not a luxury now, it is a life essential need. Okay, as heat waves are increasing. Okay, in this we will be learning about sustainable cooling and what are the observation in this report. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 3, sustainable development. Okay, let us move to the main discussion of the news. First of all, let us look into the report. Okay, so the report is published by UN Environmental Program Cool Coalition. Okay, so it is published by United Nation Environment Program Cool Coalition. Okay, there can be a direct question like which institution has released this report. So it is published by UN Environment Program Cool Coalition. Okay, and what does it provide? It provides a detailed sustainable cooling pathway aimed at dramatically reducing projected greenhouse gas emission from cooling by 2050. Okay, that is the main aim of this report. Okay, let us look into the report. Okay, first of all, let us look into the key concern raised in the report. So it has said that there will be surge in the cooling demand. Okay, you might have noticed before 10 years we were comfortable in fan. Now we require ACs. Okay, so that is the meaning of surge in cooling demand. Okay, so it has said that under a business as usual, that is how business is going, cooling pathway, the global stock for cooling requirement will more than triple by 2050 from 22 terawatts in 2022 to 68 terawatts. That is the first observation. And it has said there are policy gaps. Okay, only 54 countries meet the full sustainable cooling pathway standard despite the broad policy inclusions. Okay, so it has said that there are many policies, but only 54 countries have met the full sustainable cooling pathway. So the third concern which has been raised in the report is that escalating extreme heat. Okay, so according to IPCC, so presently 30% of the global population is suffered by extreme heat, but it has said that around 48 to 76% of global population will be suffered by extreme heat by the end of the century. And the reason for that will be the urban heat island and the heat waves. Okay, what is urban heat island? Okay, so in areas which are urban, there is lot of construction by the concrete and which trap heat. Okay, so that's why the temperature in the urban areas is higher when compared to the nearby region. That is the urban heat island effect. Okay, so because of reasons like urban heat island effect and the heat waves, the more global population will be affected by the extreme heat. Okay, so these are the concerns raised by this report. Okay, so now looking into the proposed sustainable cooling pathway. First of all, it asked for passive cooling. Okay, okay. That means reducing cooling loads through passive design. What it means that the sustainable designs of buildings. Okay, you have seen that there is lot of changes in design and there is more requirement of cooling systems. Okay. Secondly, it's talk about low energy cooling. Now we are seeing more than often that the fans are not there in buildings, only the building is dependent on the air conditions. Okay, so it has said that there should be increase in fans and coolers as well as the fans should be worked along with the air conditions. That will lower the load for the cooling. Third, it talks about best energy efficiency. Okay, you might have seen the various equipment. There are the ratings on those equipments and there are also the temperature which is given to control those equipment. So you can keep the temperature as 16 to 30. Okay, so it has asked that there should be best energy efficiency equipment. Lastly, it has said that rapid hydrofluorocarbon phase down. Okay, so their phase down is considered under Kigali Agreement. Okay, so basically hydrofluorocarbons were presented, that's why, so that there is no damage to the ozone layer, but they have high global warming potential. That means although they were not damaging the ozone layer, but they were leading to the global warming. So that's why in Kigali Agreement, it was an agreement that the hydrofluorocarbon should be phased down. Okay. So these are the four proposed sustainable cooling pathway. Okay. Now moving further, let us discuss about the Beat the Heat Global Initiative. Okay. In the same report, this initiative was talked about. And when there will be question, it will be the about for what this initiative is and according to which institution or which countries have launched this. So it is an joint effort by UNEP Cool Coalition and Brazil, which is hosting COP30 presidency. Okay. Its objective is to promote multi-level governance involving government, cities, industries, and financial institutions for enabling cooling access. Okay, and its focus areas are passive and nature-based cooling design implementation. We have already talked about passive and nature-based cooling design integration. Second is public procurement of efficient and low global warming potential technologies. We have also talked about this. Thirdly, it talks about urban heat planning and inclusive cooling for vulnerable communities. Okay, we have also talked about urban heat in this discussion. Okay, so this was about the Beat the Heat Global Initiative. India has also have India's cooling action plan. Please look into it. That is for the other discussion. Okay, so this was about this news. Let us discuss the PYQ related to this news. Okay, so the question is from Prelims 2016. Okay, you have to write the answer for this PYQ in the comment section. It is a very easy question and you see these equipment surrounded by you. Okay, so the question is, on which of the following can you find the Bureau of Energy Efficiency star labels? The first option is ceiling fan, second electrical geyser, third tabular fluorescent lamp. Okay, select the correct answer using the code given below. Options are A 1 and 2 only, B 3 only, C 2 and 3 only, and D 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so please Google it and write down the answer in the comment section. Okay, let us move to the next news is that the India's largest and first megawatt scale vanadium redox flow battery has been inaugurated at NTPC Netra. Okay, so in this news, we will be covering about the vanadium redox flow batteries and how they are beneficial above the traditional batteries. And it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about sustainable development. So let us move to the discussion of this news. So we have already discussed the context. Okay, and the context, after the context, we should learn about the flow batteries. The flow batteries along with the solid state batteries are one of the next generation batteries technology. Okay, and they are emerging as an alternative to lithium ion for grid scale application, offering flexibility, longevity and safety. So these are the benefit of these battery, and there are issues in lithium ion batteries. So we will be understanding about the vanadium redox flow batteries in this news. Let us understand about the next generation battery technologies. Okay, so these are based on the flow technology. We will understand what does the flow means. Okay, and they are powered by reduction oxidation reaction and involve two different liquid electrolyte. Okay, let us look into the diagram. So there are two separate boxes differed by a different liquid electrolyte. Okay, so here it is positive electrolyte, and here it is negative electrolyte, and here there will be V4 plus, and here there will be V3 plus. When electrons are passed from here to here while charging, it will lose an electron and it will become V5 plus, and it will gain an electron, it will become V2 plus. Okay. So this technical knowledge is not important for you, but the basic aspect that while charging there is losing as well as the gaining of charges, that is important. Okay. And they also changes color while they changes from V5 to V4 and V3 to V2. Okay. And while the discharging, the inverse step takes place. Okay. And these battery can store large amount of energy. That is the benefit of these battery. And other types of flow batteries are those batteries where there is flow of electrolytes. Okay. And others are, we have seen about vanadium redox batteries, others are zinc bromine batteries, iron salt organic system. So these are the types of flow batteries. Now talking about the solid state batteries. These are different from these batteries, as electrolyte in solid state batteries are in the state of solid. Okay, and these use solid electrolyte solution, which we have already discussed, which don't need a different separator. That means this separator is not required in solid state batteries, and it make them safer because they are less prone to the leakage from damage or swelling in the hot temperature. Okay, you might have seen the batteries of your phone. Okay, they swell sometime while charging or discharging. So that issue will be not there in solid state batteries. Okay, so what are their advantages? So significance of next generation battery technology is that they are suitable for grid scale energy storage due to independent scaling of power and energy capacity. That means they can be independently kept with the grid. Secondly, they provide an alternative to the lithium ion batteries. You might have seen that lithium ion batteries are flammable. Okay. Thirdly, they can be used for power management, pumps, grid energy storage. So their usage is vast. Lastly, they provide long duration energy storage. That is the need of the hour. Okay, so storing the renewable energy, that we require long duration energy storage solutions. Okay, and it will enhance the renewable energy integration and grid resilience. So that is the significance of next generation battery technology. About the place in news. So today place in news is Ethiopia. Okay, and what is the context here? The context is that the Ethiopia has been selected to host the UNFCCC COP32 in Addis Ababa. Addis Ababa is the capital of Ethiopia. The interesting fact is that the host country for COP32 has been selected, but the host country for COP31 has not been selected till now. That's an interesting fact. Okay, so we will look into the features of Ethiopia in this news. First of all, it is a landlocked country in the Horn of Africa. Although it is very near to Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, but it is a landlocked country. That means it does not have port or it does not touch any ocean. Okay, and the neighboring countries are Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, okay, South Sudan and Sudan. Okay, so in 2024 there was a question in prelims examination about the Red Sea. Okay, so the question was that the no major river flows to the Red Sea. Okay, as it was an extreme statement, most of the students thought that it is an wrong statement, but the statement was correct. That was that the no major river flow to the Red Sea. Okay, so that was a statement in 2024 prelims examination. Okay, second major feature about Ethiopia is that it lies entirely within tropical latitudes. Okay, so that means that the equator passes somewhere here and the Tropic of Cancer passes here. That means it lies completely in tropical latitude. Okay, its geographical features are that it has Blue Nile, Takeway and Boro rivers. Secondly, it a Rift Valley, that is the past part of East African Rift Valley, is there in the Ethiopia. Okay, so how this Rift Valley is forming in Africa? Okay, so there is a Somali plate here, and there is African Largen plate. Okay, so Somali plate is shifting away from the African plates. That's why a rift is creating here. So that is about the physiography. Okay, and the highest point in Ethiopia is Mount Ras Dajan. Okay, so these were the features about the Ethiopia. Okay, whenever you are solving or when you are reading a news related to place in news, please open the map and look at the various countries and various geographical features in and around that country. Okay, so these were the major news and the place in news for today. Now we will discuss the quick updates for today. Okay, so the first quick update for today is about digital gold. Okay, whenever you might have opening Paytm, there might be option to invest in digital gold. Okay, you have seen it. So the context here is that the SEBI has issued a public advisory warning investor against investing in digital gold or e-gold products offered via various online platforms, clarifying that such products do not fall under the SEBI's regulatory framework. So this is the context. So this statement can directly come in the prelims examination. Okay, does digital gold fall under the SEBI's regulatory framework? So SEBI itself has clarified that it does not fall under its regulatory framework. Okay, so let us learn about the digital gold. Okay, it refers to buying gold without physical possessing the precious metal. Okay, so we are not buying the physical gold, only we are buying the digital gold whose value is linked to the physical gold. That is the second statement. The price of digital gold is linked to that of physical gold. Suppose I have taken digital gold last year when the gold price was around 80 to 90,000. Now it is somewhere around 1,20,000. So I will be getting that benefit without buying the physical gold. That is the meaning of digital gold. Okay, and it is created using blockchain technology and allows investor to buy, sell and store gold electronically. And these products are neither notified as security nor regulated as commodity derivatives. So that is the basic clarification given by the SEBI. So this was about the first quick update. The second quick update is Climate Risk Index 2026. These types of index can directly come in your prelims examination, where there can be a question that which institute has released this index. So it has been released by German Watch. It is an NGO based in Germany. So this information is important and its key finding can be written in your main examination to support your point. Okay, and what are its key findings? Okay, so its key findings are that between 1995 and 2024, 9,700 extreme weather events had caused 8 lakhs death and 4.5 trillion in damage. Okay, it has ranked India also. It has ranked India as 15th in CRI rank 2024 and 9th in CRI rank 1995 to 2024. That means that India was the 9th most affected by the climate risk. Okay, and India faced nearly 430 extreme weather events in 3 decades. Okay, now we will look into the climate risk index. Its genesis can be traced back to 2006 as an annual global climate impact index. Okay, and it ranks countries based on their human and economic toll of extreme weather event, highlighting the urgency for strong climate resilience. Okay, this was about the climate risk index of 2026. Now moving to the next quick update, that is about TB vaccine development. Okay, so WHO reports call for bold financing and equitable access strategies to ensure novel tuberculosis vaccine. It has said that there is no further improvement in the vaccine for tuberculosis. Okay, and it has said that despite TB devastating global impact, no new vaccine has been licensed in over a century. So last vaccine which was licensed was basil calmethyl which was licensed in 1921. So almost 104 years have passed. There is no new vaccine. Okay, and this vaccine also offer consequences or against the consequences of TB in infant and young children. Okay, and it offer only limited and variable protection against pulmonary TB in adolescence and adulthood. There are two types of TB, that is pulmonary TB, mostly that affect lungs, and extra pulmonary TB that affect brain, bones, etc. Okay. So WTO has established the TB Vaccine Accelerator Council in 2023 so that the development of new vaccine can take place for TB. So this was about the TB vaccine development. Moving to the next news. Next news is about altermagnetism. Okay, and what is the context? The context is that altermagnetism has emerged a new class of magnetic order having properties of both ferromagnetism and antiferromagnetism. In this news, let us understand about ferromagnets and antiferromagnets. So basically, ferromagnets, which are fridge magnet as well, which you have pasted on your fridge, have all tiny atomic magnet pointing the same way, creating a strong external magnetic field. That means, suppose this is a magnet, their small atomic magnets will be pointing in the same way. It will lead to strong magnetic field outside. Okay, and in antiferromagnets, the small the atomic atoms will be placed in opposite directions. That will cancel the electromagnetism of each other, and there will be no magnetic field outside of the magnet. So altermagnetism have properties of both. It won't have the magnetic field outside, but the arrangement inside of atomic atoms will be like in the ferromagnets. So it was about the altermagnetism. Okay, it is little bit scientific, but you can learn about it. Okay. So the next news is about exercise winbacks. Okay. So the context here is that the 6th India's Vietnam Army exercise winback has started off in Hanoi. Okay. So it is important. Last to last year, I think UPSC has asked about the exercise and where they have taken place. Okay, so it has taken place in Hanoi, and it is an bilateral army exercise between India and Vietnam aimed at enhancing interoperability and sharing best practices in UN peacekeeping operation. Okay, so India is largest contributor to UN peacekeeping force. Okay, it's an important fact. Okay, so India is the largest contributor to UN peacekeeping force. Now moving to the last news for today. Okay, that is Booker Prize. Before understanding it, it is different from International Booker Prize. It is different from International Booker Prize. Okay, please note it. it is different from International Book Prize. And the context here is that the David Sasley has won the 2025 Booker Prize for his novel known as Flesh. Okay. And Booker Prize was established in 1969 in United Kingdom. Okay, and it aims to honor the best English language fiction published in UK or Ireland each year. Okay, and the reward include 50,000 pounds, as well shortlisted authors get 2,500 pounds. Okay, so this is the reward which the winners get as well as the nominated author get. So this was all about the news today, discussion of today. Okay, please solve the quiz which is available on your screen. And to read further about our current affairs initiative, you can visit the digital current affair website of us and you can solve smart quizzes there. Okay, so thank you and all the best for your preparation.